What's up, guys? It's Sunday afternoon. We're here with another episode of Cooped Up. Was in a better mood before the Patriots started playing the fucking Texans. And then it looked like the new sorority girl at a frat party because the Patriots are just deciding, you know what? Fuck it. We'll let anybody score. Like, oh my God. They like playing this game this year where they like to kind of trick everybody and think like, oh, they're going to be okay without Tom Brady. And we just got to settle on it. That they're not okay without Tom Brady. It is what it is. It is what it is. Let's all just be okay with it, though. Let's all just be okay with it, okay? You know, I know, and they're good. Tampa's good, but we're not here to talk about that today, you know? Coming from a new location today. Came back home to the parents' basement, set up a new studio, looking a little bit better. Still rocking the casting couch. Still looking like a pornography studio kind of also. Yeah, looks like each one of these stains has a story behind it. Looks like I'm like, smells like Tiffany. No, I'm not like that. That'd be cool though, but, not like that, man. We're better than that in 2020. But, today we're gonna, get into COVID coming back and me going home for the semester as well as the NBA draft. But so I'm home. It's the end of the first semester. Made it home. Manhattan College was largely outbreak free, so that's good. But, I don't feel like it was regular college. Like, I feel like I met every new person I met in that 3 months. Was either, luckily the last week before I went home, or like everybody was the first 3 weeks. Then other than that, it was just like, nope, get the fuck in your room. Get the fuck inside. Stay there. Like I said, I'm on COVID probation. Don't mean to brag. God, that sounded so stupid. Well, that's me for you. But, no, it was fun. But it definitely, I don't think it was like a regular college experience, especially because every sophomore or junior would largely let me know, hey, this is nothing what it's normally like, man. I'm sorry. You guys got the bad end of the stick this year. It's like, okay, man, cool. All right. I don't know. But it was fun. Like, there were definitely some good stories. Like, I was thinking the other day about best stories. Honorable mention has to be what I refer to myself as White Girls Gone Wild because, there was this one girl who basically, I don't know why, but she didn't want to let her friend hang out with, like, us as a group of guys. She wanted to hang out with, two girls and then 11 guys. And the 11 guys are like, we're okay. We're okay. We'd rather hang out with the group of 5 of you because, hey, fuck. That means it's a race between 2 people every time. You know what I mean? Let's be honest with ourselves. Come on. And so she really, orchestrated the whole night to avoid her own best friends. And then, surprisingly enough, one of these girls comes back and is able to somehow do exactly what she was trying to do to her with us. So she was able to trick her or trick us. No, I'll go trick us as guys and follow her group of 5 friends to a different bar and just left those 2 girls just literally standing out in the cold. Not figuratively. They were standing out in the cold. But, and it was just amazing to me because one girl lost her shit. And I could see, I was like, oh, shit. This is the first time in your life you've never been Queen Bee, right? Shit, really? That sucks. I'm sorry, girl. Well, we all learned from it. Like, damn. Come on. I don't know. That was the first time I realized, a girl can be a bitch to a guy. But a girl can be a cunt to her own friends. You know what I mean? A girl can, bad, really bad. That was the honorable mention. And then the best story, I don't know if I told this one on the podcast before, but I actually had one when I get a text from somebody. Let's call him Pat. And Pat texts me and he goes, "Hey, will you let me in?" And I go to the door. I'm like, okay, well, man is not here. I don't know where Pat is, but Pat's not here. And then about a half an hour later, I get a call from somebody. He's like, "Hey, will you, because I lived on the second floor. It was, like, easier for me to see out the windows. Someone was like, "Hey, will you look if Pat's in the doorway? In, like, any of the doors trying to get in?" And I was like, "Yeah, he called me to let him in. He's not here, but I'll look again. Look, he's not here." Then I'm playing video games for probably about 15 minutes. And some woman gives my friend a call, the same friend who asked me to look for Pat, and said, "Hi, I think I have your friend Pat here. He's at whatever number Riverdale Ave it was, which is 2 miles away. Like, it's a Friday night. Boy had been drinking. 2 miles uphill. At this point, I'm borderline impressed. But I'm like, what's going on? She's like, "Hi, he's screaming out in front of my house. Will you please come and get him? He's screaming for me to let him in and that he lives here." And so I was like, fuck that. I'm not going to get him. Too many adult beverages. Fuck that. I'm not walking 2 miles. And a group of 10 kind of goes to get him. And then, he's waiting there and she's saying, he's very angry. We're like, oh my God, this is the funniest thing that's ever happened to us. Then, to make matters worse, he calls me about 5 minutes after everybody leaves. And he goes, "God damn it, Cooper, will you just let me in? Let me in." And I'm like, what? What, Pat? You're not here. He's like, "Dude, just let me in. I'm right out in front of Jasper." Oh, now I get it. Man actually thought he was at our hall, and he thought this was just some bitch on the second floor just being like, "No, you don't have your ID. I can't let you in." No, this was a family home. Like, when all my friends got there, there were children at this point staring through the windows because he's screaming at midnight up at a 2-story family home in the Bronx. But the weirdest part is, like, how did my friend Pat even get my other friend's number? Because he's like, I don't even have Pat's number, let alone this lady's. I don't know. That was just the funniest story. And I didn't really have any idea what was going on. And I come in the room and everybody kind of texted me what happened. And I just come in the room and I'm like, "Pat, what happened? What happened?" And before I can really even get off the what happened, he's just, no, you turn around and you shut the fuck up. I am not answering any more questions tonight. What? Man, it was just like, enough. So, I mean, you could say first semester was entertaining, but, maybe it wasn't exactly regular college. I don't know. But I'm home now, because COVID is, like, really coming back again. Like, I feel like this is the 5th time on this podcast I've said COVID's coming back, but, like, ooh, fuck, COVID's back again. Like, new curfews. Like, we're going back into borderline lockdown. But, yesterday, I had a scare that I had it. My friend's little brother, who I'd seen maybe for 5 minutes since I got home, he was like, "Oh, my friend's best friend's dad has COVID." I'm like, "Oh, shit. Does your friend?" He's like, "He doesn't know. He's waiting the results." Then why the fuck are you hanging out with me? Huh? Like this, for as much as people are like, "It's the flu." It's not the flu. Go fuck yourself, really. Like, it is not the flu, guys. Come on. Let's be a teeny bit realistic. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the flu. But I don't know. Now I just sound like an old man ranting. I mean, because that's what I feel like my spirit animal is just like complaining old man, definitely. But, yeah, no, it seems like it's coming back because a lot of the stand up stuff, like in Mass, it seemed like they were doing in person stuff for maybe a week and then they were like, get the fuck back inside. Um, New York, I think they're still trying to do it in what they call underground, in some motherfucker's basement, on some motherfucker's rooftop. It's really weird. But other than that, not much really for anybody in stand up regard right now. I know New York public schools got canceled, and like people have been saying, Harry said on the podcast for weeks that Duxbury should get canceled, and I probably think it is. Like, I don't see any point why they're there. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could argue that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they're there because it's high school. Like, at this point, after one semester of college, I realized like, oh, they basically go over it all again in college. That first semester is like, hey, we're just making sure you got the first year of high school. You know, let's just make sure we got this shit down pat. Is that just me? I don't know. Maybe it is, but I don't know. I kind of feel like we can't do anything about COVID. Well, like, obviously you could do. I sound stupid as fuck there. Like, obviously you can do something, but I think that largely we're at this point where, it's kind of like Pandora's box. You put the country in this small little box, and then you opened it. You're not going to be able to get everything back in there. Like, we're not going to be able to go back into full lockdown. Sorry, that was kind of like you get that once card. As fucked up as that sounds, but that is legitimately kind of true. It is just kind of that thing of, once you do it, it's now knowing what it's like to spend months inside. It's really going to be hard to get people to go back in. That's I don't even know. I don't have some stupid analogy for what that's like, but that's just really weird to me and like really hard to think you're going to be able to successfully do. But maybe that's just me. But there's a bunch of different stuff going on now. What else? What else is there? Give me 1 sec, cuz we're always so well prepared. Oh, yeah, shit. The big one. Well, big for me, not really big for anybody else. But the NBA draft. The NBA draft's finally come around. It was supposed to take place in June, and like everything, that proved how much you can really put on pause here. Like, it is really insane if you think about the lives of these prospects that they just were like, yeah, we're just waiting. Like, I mean, you've seen so many guys rise up that wouldn't have had time, and now just because, if you're looking at, well, this is our order of these are who we think the 10 best guys in the draft are, the longer you look, the more likely you're going to be like, oh, fuck, is it? Are we sure we don't have Alex Poku or whatever the fuck that 7-footer's name is that I can't lie. Time has helped him with me. I'm saying with me like that matters at all. But like, I really think about it now and I'm like, well, if, this draft isn't great because, as everybody's been saying, this draft isn't too great in terms of there's no real guys who are for sure superstars. Like I say, last draft we kind of had 2 surefire superstars with, 4 or 5 guys who had 3-4 guys who had chances to be superstars. Like, whether or not you want to call that RJ. Now I think we can all acknowledge that Tyler Hero's in there. Brandon Clark even now, he's in that discussion. I'd throw Cam Reddish in there just because I think the size, that's so crazy. But then there were these two guys like Ja and Zion who were largely what we would have called sure thing superstars. I mean, these guys were going to translate at the next level, and we all kind of knew it. There's nobody in this draft. Anthony Edwards, Jameis, God, I'm still calling him Jameis just because his name, I don't know why. It just fit. Doesn't it fit? Hey, am I crazy? Somebody tell me. Nobody's going to have listened up to this point. I know. But, hey, if somebody's watching the draft portion, tell me, honestly, do you think it's easier to say James Wiseman or Jameis Wiseman? I don't know why. I just think Jameis rings better to his name. I know that's not his name. I know I fucked up for way too long. But that's just what I've kept calling him for so long. It's so hard for me. But I think him and Anthony Edwards are, the surest things. But ESPN. Fantasy. Never mind. Oh, Joe Burrow carded off. That's a sad day. I liked him. He was good. He had the juice. He had as much swagger I've seen out of a young white quarterback. God damn. I mean, Baker, I call that fake swagger. So if anybody's like, Baker, no. I don't buy it. Joe Burrow had it to me. Let's hope he still does after this. I don't even know what it is. Look at me, already counting the guy out. Joey, don't let me do that to you. Don't let me. Come on, man. Don't let me do that to you. But, this draft just doesn't really, it has guys that could hit superstars, kind of lottery players, like Pat Williams, who the Bulls drafted at 4, LaMelo Ball, who people like to call the number one prospect. I don't think there's any way you can call him the number one prospect right now. I think, a lot of people would take a chance on Poku. And people are like, who is this guy? Look up Alex Poku. I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name because I can't say it. I think he got drafted by the Thunder. Maybe the Thunder, the Nuggets. I don't know. One of the two of those teams. And he's basically what I'd call like a 7-footer that wants to play point guard. He's kind of like Denny Avdia, but he's like a 7-foot version that is really raw. Like if Denny's raw, then this dude is like would give you salmonella raw. Like this dude is crazy. But with that being said, in a draft that's so bad, I don't know. I'm starting to think that he's the biggest guy I'd take a flyer on. I mean, he's the biggest lottery because, there's a very high chance that in 4 years from now he's not in the NBA at all, to any level, not even in the G League. If he can't put on weight, if he can't hold up at the level. But there's also, there's ways I see this going where you're like, he's tall and he could shoot. He could be like a Porzingis. He's tall and he has great feel for passing and dribbling, so he could be like a Jokic. There are so many levels to this guy's game that are yet to be unlocked that in a draft where, at 5, I'm taking Isaac Okoro, who I like Isaac Okoro. But at 5, I don't know. What's the ceiling there? I heard the other day somebody call ceiling Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart shouldn't be your ceiling for a 5th pick. When we were looking at Marcus Smart, we were looking at getting a different kind of lead guard. You were looking at getting a starting guard, that could be your offense initiator, that could be your lead ball handler. You were looking for all those things. And, Smart's definitely lived up to in Boston, but I don't think that's a role you're drafting for at 5th overall. I'm sorry. Especially when I'm Cleveland and I don't look at any of the guys who are, my guys like Garland, Sexton, Love. I mean, Love wants his way out, but they still love him. And just be like, yeah, I'm comfortable taking Isaac Okoro as a guy who we know will never really be a superstar and will be a great role player, a great guy to fit around them. I'm like, why are you doing that as Cleveland? That makes sense a pick later. It would, maybe. If you want to say we're Atlanta, we're trying to go for the playoffs, we have our scorers, we need to put defense around these guys. Okay, cool. But as Cleveland, I don't get it. And I mean, I like Isaac Okoro, so I don't want to call him this because I don't think he's a miss at all. I don't think he's a miss. And I don't think picking him at 5 is necessarily a miss. Because I think you could have taken him at 6 and he went to Atlanta. And the more I'm thinking about that right now, I wouldn't view that as a miss at all. I'd view that as a good pick. But you have to look at things in context to where somebody is going. He's not going somewhere that needs great role players. They need guys to be their best player. Like, I don't know how else to say that other than, like, Cleveland's not a dish that's cooked well enough to the point where you're adding spices right now. We still need ingredients. We don't need guys who are going to spice shit up, who are going to be, difference makers you can throw in at all different levels. We need guys that are really gonna, be, or could be, even could be. You're not operating B, because this draft is could be, but even the idea of could be a superstar level difference maker. I'd much rather have had that. And I know there's like completely different ways you can think about a draft, but that's just to me what I was thinking there. I mean, like more draft stuff. I don't think anybody was really surprised about 1, 2, 3. Edwards, Wiseman, and Ball. I think that with the article that came out the night before, which, who the fuck is Anthony Edwards' agent? How do you let this 19-year-old kid go on to whatever platform that got him on ESPN, whether it was video, whether it was fucking interview of just recording, or whatever the fuck it was? How the fuck do you let a kid who's about to be drafted first overall go on the air and say, I like football better than basketball? I don't get that. And especially to say, why? Well, because I like the freedom. I like to be able to dance. I'm sorry. What? What? That agent should be immediately fired. I could be a better agent. Hey, you know that interview you're planning on doing a day from the draft? Fucking don't, retard. Don't. Oh, you want the guys in the NFL to like you? I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit. Look at LaMelo Ball. He went through what was the media tornado of having his father so closely involved with him during the draft process. And then he learned. He learned to distance himself. He learned to say Michael Jordan would beat my dad in one-on-one. And from that, we all were like, okay. Yeah, sure there's questions about character. Sure, you're not going to be able to escape those with what the hell he just went through. But he looks like to be a kid who's setting himself up for success more than Anthony Edwards was in that night. And it was just amazing to me to think that Anthony Edwards went through the process of hiring an agent to help him do what is best for his basketball career, and he let him do that. It's just fucking insane to me, and it drives me nuts. And then, the Warriors picked Wiseman, and everybody, I feel like, thought that was a good pick until Clay got hurt. And then people started to wonder, should you have taken Denny? Should you have taken Ball? Should you have tried to trade up in some way to secure Edwards after you knew what happened to Clay? I don't know. I don't think so because, Clay's game is so, isn't predicated on athleticism to an extent that it doesn't. Yeah, he's going to have taken 2 years off, and that scares me. He's probably not going to be the same player, but I still think he's going to be a very good player. And I think if you're going a year of your lineup is Steph, Wiggins, Oubre, Green, and Wiseman, I think Curry and Green, and with the big addition of Wiseman, because I think he's going to help a lot, I think you're good enough to still get a top 4, maybe top 3 seed in the West. And I think a lot of people are counting them out already and saying this dynasty is over. And yes, it very well could be. Yes, Clay can come back and be maybe useless, and that would suck. Even as people who aren't Warriors fans, you love Clay. You can say that. You comfortably can say that. Everybody loves Clay. But, I'm not too scared without him. I'm really not. And I know I should be. But I'm really not as scared as I should be. But yeah, and then, for LaMelo Ball was kind of the no-brainer. I felt like that was a good one for Michael Jordan, because if any guy's going to be able to right that ship, I do feel like Jordan might be able to. So that'd be cool to see. Because, my one thing after seeing all the guys in this draft is, like, I do want to see LaMelo fully, for lack of a better word, unlocked, fully utilized to the best of his ability, become the best player that we all think he can be. Because I just think that's such a crazy parallel to Luka Doncic. I think if he evolves, how we think he's going to be, that's a remarkably similar play style to Luka. And that would just be insane to me to see. But other than that, Patrick Williams was probably the biggest surprise of the draft, going 4 out of Florida State. He was just kind of one of those crazy athletes. I guess Aaron Gordon was way better in college, so it's a little different. But Aaron Gordon, I kind of think of Jonathan Isaac from back then, when, same school. Similar play style, too. A really athletic 3-4 that has shown flashes of creation and has shown just the straight up ability to be an elite defender. So I don't think the pick's as crazy as a lot of people think it is, but it definitely was the biggest surprise of the draft to me. Or maybe Halliburton dropping, Halliburton and Avdiha dropping, or however the fuck you say his name. That one was a little wild to me. That was, he dropped a lot. Both of them dropped significantly. Denny, most people had Denny going 4 to the Bulls, and they went with Patrick Williams, and then he just kind of started that free fall until he got to 9. And, I liked what he was going to be able to do for them. With the combination of getting Wall back, with having Beal be a new lead guy, Berton signed on to be a shooter, and then you kind of have Rui and Denny to kind of almost evolve into your third and fourth options, and I thought that was actually a good idea. I thought bring back Thomas Bryant. This is a good team. This is. I would argue that if Denny fell one more pick and went to 10 and went to Phoenix, that I would have liked that way better. I would have loved him having the ability to actually be the third guy on Phoenix, because I think that's what he would have been. I really do. I think it would have... Or fourth guy. Sorry, forgetting about Ayton. Ayton's kind of weird, though, because I feel like a lot of what you wish Ayton will be is on the defensive end. So... And I think I love Denny. I think his ceiling's so high. I think his ceiling is the 4th best player in the draft, 3rd best player in the draft. If LaMelo flames out, I don't think it's surprising if you see Denny as the 3rd, 2nd best player in the draft. I don't know who the best player is going to be, but I personally do believe Denny is going to be top 5. I do. I just believe that. And yeah, no, that's my 2 cents on Denny, but I think now we're really going to get a different look of what he is, being that Wall had, Wall asked for a trade probably the day before free agency starts, maybe the day free agency started, And now with with Beal saying he didn't want to get traded because Wall didn't want out, or because Wall looked so good and he didn't want out because of that. I don't know what you do now. I don't know who the GM in Washington is, but prayers up to you for working out that superstar backcourt that might closet hate each other. I can't figure it out. Because if John's requesting the trade, that has to mean something's up. That's what that means. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm the only one that thinks that. But that's what all things are kind of pointing to for me. And then, what? For the last thing about the NBA draft, jeez, keep checking my phone over here. But the last thing about the NBA draft was, I had to say, like, presentation was just not it. Like, we all saw how good the NFL draft was. We all saw how well it did, like, being, done virtually. And I just thought, to have so much time after the NFL draft, the NBA draft was such a letdown. Like, not only was it just, like, not entertaining and, I feel like the thing we liked about the virtual NFL draft is it got to, it let us see that personable side of both, like, the NBA or the NFL as an association. I don't know if you guys could just hear my dad yelling about the Patriots, but that means something not good just happened. But no, I just think, like, we got to see a more personal side of the NFL. We got to see a more personal side of the draftees. And to be able to seen how that went and seen what everybody said about that, and then to just come up with that as your NBA plan, like, that was bad to me. You're supposed to be the league of, revolutionary ideas. We're supposed to be the league. I'm saying we, because I love the NBA so much. We, like, I'm a fucking part of it, but I'm not. As much as I wish I was one of them 12, man. But, no, like, I just thought it was a huge letdown to see, like, the NBA draft go that poorly, really. And just to see, not only was it not entertaining, it was also kind of confusing because, the rules are so strict with draft pick trading and the Stephanie rule, and you can't trade multiple picks in multiple years and everything, that it's just like, what are we doing here? What's going on? Like, I genuinely am lost. I don't know if this team traded the pick. Like when Brooklyn lost the Clippers and the Detroit Pistons did that trade for the 19th pick. Like, there was at least 5-6 minutes where you're like, all right, but who the fuck has the pick? Like, I get who got who for players, but who the fuck has the pick? And maybe that was just me and my friends, but, like, that was just so confusing to me. I don't know. Again, maybe it was just me, but I was definitely disappointed as an NBA fan because I felt like having so much time, again, after the NFL draft, God fucking damn it, NFL draft, that you had an ability to, like, really put together something special, and you just really dropped the ball. They just really dropped the ball, and it was crazy to see because the players sold the show so much more. I mean, it was, the players' stories doing the heavy lifting, and the players, interviews doing the heavy lifting, but just in between, it was, this was all, it was everybody was a great pick. There was no, arguing over shit. There was no, like, seeing what GMs really thought. They asked him questions they were asking, Steve Nash about his draft night. Like, I'm sorry. The first time I see Steve Nash forced with a basketball decision or a part of a basketball decision as a head coach, I want to know what he's thinking as a basketball coach. I don't want to know, how does this compare to what you were I don't give a fuck about that. Like, and I think as the NBA, they should have been able to understand that. They should have been able to understand why all of us were watching the NBA draft. But they really weren't. They really weren't. And I don't think we should be that surprised by this. No, but that was my 2 cents on the NBA draft. I guess I was happy to have a virtual draft, but I definitely thought it could have been done better. So coming up, we're getting into the mediocre rewind. So stay tuned, everybody. Alrighty, so we're back with the mediocre rewind. Excuse me, as I was just catching the end of the Patriots game. So I guess that'll be the first one of the day. Number one, Patriots dynasty is over. It is, guys. We had a great run. Like David Duchovny when they told him Californication was over. Like, just, time to pull back. Time to pull back, guys. We aren't who we thought we were anymore. Or we aren't who we thought we were yet. I don't know if I said that. I don't know. I might have just sounded stupid, but we aren't what we thought we were anymore. It's just over. And I feel like as Pats fans, we should just come to grips with that, man. Just realize it. We had our time. Speaking of a guy whose time was about to start in the NFL, another sad one that literally just happened was Joe Burrow getting carted off the field. I love Joey B. I did. I do. I still do. I think the dude's going to come back and be great. I mean, we saw it hit Deshaun Watson, torn ACL in his rookie year. And now look at it. He just spanked the Patriots. So I think, depending on what it is, like you can come back from injuries in the NFL now a lot easier. Not saying it's easy, but it's a lot more likely you'll be the same player. But it is just a shame because he was doing one of the, he was in the process of, really doing this whole franchise star quarterback thing. He was on the road to being one of the best rookie seasons we've probably ever seen. And it's sad to know now that we don't get to see how it ends. Because there was that point, he was Joey Covers. There was at one point when he was either 6-0 or 7-0 for covering the spread. And that makes us gamblers straight up love him. It does. Next one, another guy we talked about during the NBA draft portion, Denny Avdia. Denny apparently learned how to play Call of Duty, learned English. God, maybe I should learn English. Jesus fucking Christ. But Denny learned English while playing Call of Duty. So that teaches us which draft prospect had no friends. Maybe he was dedicated. He's not going to be out partying a lot, I assume. I learned how to speak English because of Call of Duty. Or maybe he's got a video game problem. We don't know. You can choose to see that how you want to see that. But that was definitely probably the most interesting little weird tidbit they gave you in the draft. I'm trying to think. Next topic. Next one. Drew Brees. Slow golf clap for that man because it might be over. And that sound might have sounded like I was masturbating. I don't know. But it might be the end of the road for you, buddy Drew. At first it was 6 fractures. I was like, damn, that sucks. Now it's 11 fractures and a collapsed lung. I'm like, Jesus, fuck, did your wife pull Tiger on you and beat you with a golf club? Like, what happened, Drew? You're supposed to be perfect, too. Perfect guys don't get 11 ribs broken in one hit. Holy shit. 11? That's like afterwards, you were like, fuck it, just hit me a few more times. Let's see if it goes back. Let's see if we can knock him back into play. I don't know. Just 11, I was like, whoo, wow. Okay. Somebody's going to get fucked up from the New Orleans medical staff. Like, somebody made a mistake. I don't know who the fuck did, but somebody made a big mistake to me. Maybe that's just me, but I really do think if it's as bad as it says, or if his injury is as bad as it says, this might be the end of Drew. It might be the end of Drew. I don't want to say it, but he's 40, whatever. He's old. He couldn't throw the ball pretty far to begin with. Oh, collapsed lung. You're just like, God damn, I wish they never, missed that pass interference call. Because then this motherfucker would have won a ring and just retired. And we would have called it a day. Now he's out here, I have to bring Nola a championship. And okay, but you're going to end up getting put in a home first, Drew. Come on, think about your family. Think about what you've done already. Call it. Call it. Let's just maybe call it. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But what else? We got Michael J. Fox retiring again. True hero, true American icon. He's a hero because he's the only guy that could become an American icon for wanting to fuck his mom. For trying to go back in time and fuck his mom. That's what he did. That's what he did in Back to the Future. I got the... Yeah, no, right guy. Yeah. Back to the Future, man. That's what his idea was. That's what he tried to do. And we love him for it. Never forget that. Never forget how much we love Michael J. Fox. Because he made bangers. But he also tried to bang her. You know what I mean? Like, he did. You can't deny that. He was so successful, he was also trying to be so incestual. I mean, take the good with the bad. And shit, I mean, you guys can decide what the good is because I've already decided what the good is. Now, that one's fucked up. But here, what do we have next? Preparation is key. Oh, we have Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward, I don't know if he had been watching this first two mediocre rewinds in a row. Gordon Hayward's on it. He opted out. Of the Celtics contract and actually ended up getting a deal in Charlotte for 4 years, $120 million, which is $30 million a year. Which, like, holy shit, Michael Jordan, have you been watching basketball? Because... wow. At that point, it was like, ooh, fuck. Okay, as the Celtics, yep, just tuck your tail between your legs and go, yep, he's not worth that. But don't tell them that. No, not at all. And I love that thing that also started circulating online, which was Gordon was only going to sign to a place that was a red state because his wife donated to the Trump campaign. I thought that was fucking hysterical. And then he did end up, going to North Carolina, which I'm not 1,000% sure. Not a big politics guy, but I'm assuming that's a red one. That seems like it'd be red, That seems like the place where things would start to bleed off from South Carolina. It's a reddish hue. They maybe don't bleed red, but they look red probably, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I feel like I've said that a billion times on this podcast. Now I'm going to think for 1 second. What are the phrases? I mean, my friends have always said I say, you know what I mean, putting my hands on my hips like I'm weird, chubby, adolescent Superman. But I always say, you know what I mean. I always say, I just don't understand that. And then I always say, maybe that's just me. And that's definitely a big one on the podcast. Like, I definitely don't say maybe that's just me anywhere else than, sitting at my desk or at school or sitting in my parents' basement. Because, like, Jesus fuck, it is a problem sometimes. Holy shit, man. I can't shut the fuck up with those phrases. But last one for the mediocre rewind here. We had the, what was it? The Rockefeller tree, the Christmas tree in the, Rockefeller Center, in New York, looked like the only Christmas tree I've ever seen in my entire life that actually had erectile dysfunction. Like, half the leaves are like, I don't know what they did, whether they were like, fuck it, you guys didn't pay us enough, so we're just only going to give you 80% tree. 80% like leaves or like covered tree. Or if the guy's shipping it, we're just like, fuck it, let's just roll it there. Because that literally, did y'all use that tree as a goddamn wheel? Like, I don't know how it ends up like that. But holy fuck, it was bad. And it is so 2020. Like, I hated people saying that, but it is. It is, I mean, that should be our mascot. And it should be the mascot for what they call Die in New York right now. Yeah, I said it. Die in New York. It was a little. Wasn't the greatest, but we lived with it. But, yeah, no, that's been the Mediocre Rewind, guys. This was another episode of Cooped Up. Episodes Cooped Up are available wherever you listen to your podcast. They're available on, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Anchor, YouTube. Yeah, everything like that. You know, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for the listen.